Damar Hamlin news seemingly really, really good. Eyes open. You reported gripping hands of close ones. Neurologically intact, they're saying. When did all of this happen? When did all this take place? And are we expecting more great information coming out of University of Cincinnati Medical Center today, Mr. Rappaport?
Okay, so first of all, this is all amazing.
Yes.
And, I think you could probably tell yesterday when we spoke, things were going in the right direction, right? Like there was some optimism, there was some positivity. Even if people close weren't saying like, this is specifically happening, that's specifically happening, you could tell by the way that they were reacting, things were going to be okay, and at least he was going to make it. That's what it seemed like yesterday. At least he was going to make it. And then last night, he opened his eyes. And that is also amazing. And just imagine the family members who have been there 72 hours, not knowing if he's going to live or die, watching him get resuscitated on the field, some of the most dramatic and immediate medical attention we've seen in a public setting
ever.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I was thinking about it. I forget about football. I can't remember ever seeing anyone else fighting for his life in front of us, and we're all watching.
And I think Joe Buck, but like for the last 9 minutes they've been doing. It's like it was, and the whole world's watching prime time.
Well, that
all
was
eyes on.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for all of us, hearing Joe Buck say 9.5 minutes, it was when, at least for me, I was like,
that's a long time.
Oh, like okay, this has just changed. This is now not about football. This is very real, and I don't know what's happening. And then he opens his eyes last night. He is responsive. He's not talking yet because he has a tube in his mouth still, but gripping the hands of loved ones, knowing that they are there for him, is all like really incredible.
Okay, so let's dive into a little bit more there. Was anybody with him when he opened his eyes? How did they find out? I assume that it was his family bedside the entire time, and when that happens, everybody gets real pumped, right? I mean, that is, what time do we know when that happened in the evening?
It was late. It was late. So I think it was somewhere after 8 o'clock because it started like when I do these things, you check in for news and you check in on humans, and then you do a little bit of in between. And this is one of those things that you're not really gonna do anything until it becomes an official statement. But you started to get word last night, like we're gonna have something tomorrow that's gonna be good. So around like 8 or 9 p.m., something was happening, which turned out to be opening his eyes. I don't know specifically who was in the room, but I know that the reaction from those close to him who have all, because like the family members are sort of in and out, so I don't know who specifically was there, but I know the reaction was like described to me as extremely heartwarming.
I would assume, yeah. I mean, geez, what a moment there for Damar as well. What are the next steps here for the Damar Hamlin family, for the team, for the Bills, and what are expectations? Do we know what expectations are at this point?
You're talking about for him specifically?
Yeah, like neurologically intact is great news. Like that's incredible news, right? And then gripping the hands, that's great news for extremities, you would assume, right? Like that would mean good news. I don't know how much more you know than us, but like, what do you think what are expectations, timeline going forward for him?
So, obviously the focus has been on like, how is he and is he going to make it? Once it was clear that he's going to make it and he's neurologically intact, then you could sort of start being like, is he going to have an okay life? Is he going to be okay? And then could he ever play again? And I don't know the answer of would he want to play again, right? I do not know that answer because I would imagine, considering what happened to him, he could play or not, and I would understand both ways. Honestly, I would totally understand if he never wanted to play again. But no one has said to me, this is the guy who will never play again. Like, I don't know if you can compare difficult, tragic situations, and I don't think this is saying anything wrong, but this made me think of Ryan Shazier. And, tracking that situation a couple years ago, I remember speaking to someone close to him, and I asked about football, and the response was, don't ask about football. I understand. This hasn't quite been like that. No one has said to me he's never going to play football again.
Got it. Crazy that you are asking about football in this situation, but that is your job, I guess.
Well, for the Ryan Shazier thing, I didn't understand.
Oh, got you.
I didn't know what it was, and I didn't understand. So he says, let's not talk about football, and I was like,
I got you.
Okay.
I understand. And that's a great, by the way, thank you for bringing that example because you're showcasing that it has happened in the past and it has had a different reaction. So that's great news for Damar, I believe. Chris Pronger of the NHL. What year was that? He got hit with a puck. Do we know what year it was?
That was 99.
98.
99, yeah.
Yeah, he gets commotio cord, which comes from hockey, ball sport normally, or object sport, hitting at like the exact wrong time of the heartbeat and at the exact, they're talking like millimeter of where it's supposed to be and everything like that. He came back and played, so it's fascinating what the human body can do. I think that's what I'm learning most through this whole 9 minutes. This guy completely out on primetime TV. Now they're saying he's 72 hours later, he could move and he's alive again. Like, think about him opening his eyes.
Yeah.
There's just so much that is really mind-blowing here, and it's all certainly good news. We can't wait to follow your Twitter account, hopefully for more news. Do you think more is going to come out today, or do you think that was this morning was the good news they're referring to?
No, I think that was the good news they're referring to. At some point, maybe today, Sean McDermott will speak, and I don't know if there's going to be a doctor with him or not. Sometimes they do that. Would make some sense to sort of explain, like, here's what happened. And the family has been very protective of making sure that there's no specific medical updates. I think mainly because everybody screws it up. And they wanted, if there's going to be an update, for it to be like real and here's actually what happened. So we may see some sort of medical update also. And then it's like the football part of it, which is what are you going to do about the game? Is it going to be replayed, which my guess would be probably not, but we'll see. And then how do you actually play a game this Sunday?
Tom Pelissero is reporting that Dr. Pritzs says Damar Hamlin's signs of improvement, including emerging from his sleep following commands and asking who won the game. Dr. Pritzs clarifies that Hamlin cannot speak and still has a breathing tube in. He has been communicating in writing. Last night, this guy can write?
Okay.
Let's go,
Holy
dude.
shit.
Our response was, Damar, you won. You won the game of life.
You're right.
That's fucking awesome. Dr. Pritzs says they have explained to Hamlin what happened, and he expressed surprise that he had not been with the world for 2 days. Also talked with him about all the support. His first note was, did we win? It's not only that the lights are on, we know that he's home, says Dr. Pritzs, who has been working with Damar Hamlin at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Remarkable news.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hell yeah. Big thank you to everybody medically that has done incredible work with a very scary, devastating primetime football situation. Damar Hamlin seemingly all the way back. Writing now, dexterity still there. Who won the game? Remembers game.
Yeah.
That he was at game. Surprised that he hasn't been around for the last 2 days. This seemingly is the greatest news we can get.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats,
And he
Damar.
woke up on his. Aren't they saying he woke up on his own too? Like that's awesome.
Yeah, like, hey, Damar. Writes down, I'm fucking sleeping, dude.
Yeah. What the hell?
What's the deal? Congrats to Damar.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Unreal.
Can you imagine that building right now, that locker room, that team?
Buffalo
Can you
Bills?
imagine the galvanization that's going to take place now?
Wouldn't want to be playing them this week.
Yeah, that would suck.
Well, they might have 8 spots, but the whole world breathes a massive sigh of relief from Dr. Pritz's update there. That's amazing to hear. Let's take a break. On the other side, we will wrap up the glorious day that is January 5th, 2023, the day that we learned that it is possible in the world that we currently live in. There's a lot of shit that happens in our world that we don't like. It is possible for somebody to have to receive CPR for 9 straight minutes in front of the entire world, then get in an ambulance, get to a hospital, and 2 days later, basically be back with full neurologically intact. And the doctor reiterated that fact, that there's no signs of any deficit.
home.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad.
Yeah, man.
They were very positive through that whole time. Jordan Rooney became the spokesperson for the family. I'm sure that was, it didn't look like he was enjoying. A lot of people were saying he was taking advantage of the moment and everything like that because people are naturally cynical on everything. I would assume that the family and everybody is pumped to be at this stage.
Yeah.
And the positive vibes that we had heard about and the belief that Damar is Damar, so he'll get through this, rang true. Let's go, dude.